and how many has stayed for a couple of months and so on. Great. So now we move on to Rosie. Are you there, Rozana?
Yes, it takes a second to put the mic on. So yes, hello everybody again. So we're gonna start talking a bit about one of the Isaac values, which is activating leadership. And as you have noticed from the beginning, once you approach Isaac, you will hear more about we are promoting leadership among youth more than you're gonna hear that we are actually providing also cross-cultural exchanges. So basically, our idea behind Isaac, it's always about the individual and how we can develop ourselves and others. So that's why we're going to take this. Next, Osai. Yeah, I'm going to talk a bit about my own story. That's why we didn't share how long we've been in Isaac. I started Isaac. First of all, I didn't know about Isaac until I came across a stand here in AF in Lund, when it was 100+ organizations, and I took flyers from maybe like 20, which I was considering. And then in the end, I came across the table of Isaac. And when I was asking the people, what do you offer? What are you about? They were saying that we're promoting leadership, which really got my attention. And they were saying that they are supporting SDGs. It's something that is very relevant to my study program. And yes, I got very curious and I checked online. Before, I didn't know that it existed, even though it is in my country, but I just was not in that university. I was in another city. I applied, and I remember that application had so many things to do, but still I was very ambitious and I really wanted to do it. So I took the effort to apply and become a member, and it was B2C called, but it's OGX actually. And yeah, very soon they had application for becoming a president, but in my eyes, it was more of a journey rather than just me putting myself into a position, like let's say applying and getting the position. I didn't feel ready for it, even though it was in my own ambition to just do something more and be more rather than just a member. Because from the start, it was explained that you become a member and then you have a leadership scale to follow. So I didn't move for that. I just applied for HCVP once it was open. And yeah, I just took my time. Now it's going to be almost 2 years. I'm going to finish my studies. And I have been a member, a team leader, a vice president, and now I'm the network manager. So I kind of took my time to climb the ladder because I could afford it. I had the time to do it. And that's why, yeah, I feel like it's relevant to talk a bit about activating leadership in this moment. Next slide, please. So yeah, Isaac strives to develop leadership among youth. Unlike if you read online about the different people who discuss or have studied leadership, not that one aside. Anyway, you will realize that it's not only about the individual, but it's also about the environment, the context, and the journey itself. And we in Isaac, we believe that leadership is not only for certain individuals, not for someone who is outgoing and who is making a loud noise or has like thousands of followers, but leadership can be developed in every single individual with some effort. And yeah, first of all, I want to introduce you guys with what leadership is according to Isaac. As next slide, please. Yeah. So according to us, leadership is the capacity to generate changes, lead by example through actions and results, and take full responsibility for developing others. So if you look at this, you will realize that leadership is not only about a position, even though that position gives you a normative power to be in touch with more stakeholders, to have more, even if you are a democratic leader, you will have certain stuff that you decide. Why? Because you got the potential, and that's why you got the position through a voting system, right? So in this sense, the leadership through for Isaac, for us, it's the process itself, what you are actually doing, how you're going to develop yourself, and how you're going to transmit it into the results about your team, and also how you're going to help others become more. Next, please. Yeah, so I was just wondering, what makes you want to become a leader? Because in the beginning, once you join, you might join as a member, but it takes like some effort to become something more, right? So I was just brainstorming about this, and I came about 3 values that might tackle your leadership potential. Is it maybe ambition? Next, in this case, it could be, for example, you're the kind of individual that is very much oriented towards success, and you like a lot to climb the ladder. It's not about just having a position, but it's just about like, it's a driving force, it's a burning desire that makes you want to achieve more. And that's why Isaac offers this opportunity to youth, because you will not get the same chance once you get a full-time job somewhere after studies. In that sense, you have to start from scratch, and it's going to take so many years to climb the ladder, because it's going to be so much competition. And that's why Isaac is trying to prepare you for the next stage in your life. Next, please. Yeah, maybe it can be vision that is like tackling your leadership desire. Maybe you are the kind of person that is very much, okay, this is the state of my LC, let's say. I see, for example, okay, I understand how my team leader is working, but I think at one point we should strive for something more. Maybe you have a greater goal, maybe you have a new strategy, and that kind of vision makes you apply for a leadership position once the application is open, right? So you kind of have to look through yourself and see, for example, if Isaac was yours, you own Isaac. Think about that for a second. What would you do in this moment? Maybe we're in difficult times currently because of coronavirus situation. Maybe you are the exact individual who has the potential to create a plan and make us go through this. Next, please. And maybe it's a challenge. For the first 2 cases, I was assuming that maybe you feel like you are ready, right? Maybe you feel like you can do this. You got the potential and everything. Click, Osai. But maybe this can be your chance to test your potential and grow. Maybe you feel like you want to test the waters. You haven't tried how to be a leader yet, but maybe you feel like, okay, but I have a chance, and you can take it once you can apply to be a team leader or a vice president or whatever. So in this moment, it can be an amazing chance for you to grow. Meanwhile, you are trying to grow your LC, reach your goals, and develop your members. So yeah. Do I have the next? Okay. So in this moment, once you have kind of looked through yourself, what makes you want to be a leader? What would make you apply for a leadership position? We're also going to think about how is Isaac actually going to activate your leadership? Click. And in this moment, it comes into place what we call the inner and outer journey. And that is what we offer as a platform. It's not only about your own ambition, but also it's us providing you this support system. You have like, it's not only Isaac in LC, it's Isaac in a national level, it's Isaac in an international level. So you're going to have a big community where you can develop and learn from these individuals coming from 100+ countries. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed my part. Now we're going to move to Anton.
Thank you, Rosie. It was an amazing presentations, and I hope you also took notes here and really thought about everything. If you have now any questions for Rosie or anything, write it down in the chat and we will take it later. So now we move on to empowering others, and I will tell you a bit of the story when I joined Isaac and how it is connected to empowering others. So as you know, empowering others is one of the leadership values. Let me see here. Okay, so when I started out, it was more than 1.5 years ago, and I was also seeing an Isaac stand. I was in a lunch lecture, and this was this guy talking about Isaac in a very passionate way. And I thought, well, I can try it out and see what happens. So I went to this session there. We had an info session. They talked about Isaac, did roll calls and all this stuff. And it was a bit weird the first time, you know. I thought they were dancing. Why are they dancing like this and everything? So I was after that was walking out without doing anything, and then they were like running after me and saying, Anton, you need to sign up to Isaac. You didn't do it. I'm like, oh yeah, right. I should do that. So then I went back. I signed up for Isaac and applied and got on the interview and everything, and I got accepted. I started in OGX and outgoing exchange, and when I started, I learned very quickly. I really wanted to put my energy into Isaac because I actually joined it. And after a while, the LCP current in Linköping, he told me like, yeah, Anton, you have great ideas and you're learning quickly and everything. I would encourage you to apply for the local committee president role. And I thought like, really, I mean, I just started. Why should I apply? I have no experience and so forth. But I thought, okay, let's apply anyhow. He told me it was a good idea, so I did it for that reason. He really inspired me and empowered me. Like, yeah, apply now. You need to apply. This, you will probably be able to have a good chance of getting accepted. So after that, I got accepted to be LCP, and from there on, yeah, I was the LCP. I went on all different conferences and everything. So if you look here to the top left, we see the first conference we were going to in Källstrom in Sweden. So it's a national conference. Yeah, you see all these pictures in general. It's from different conferences. We have the two to the right are from Turkey. We went to Turkey in Mars this year and also Mars last year. And in general, all these conferences a lot about leadership and coming together as a community and really empowering others to. Okay, let's say an example. We are sitting in a session. We have a team of my community. We are 5 people maybe. And they ask something on the top like, okay, so now I want you to share something about this topic we talked about during this hour. And then we all encourage each other like, okay, come on now. Now it's your turn to raise up and have your speech or share your thoughts about this in front of 100, 200 people. And that's also part of empowering others to really take on the leadership. It doesn't need to be a big thing, but just sharing your thoughts in front of 200 people, just that is very powerful. So that's something I can tell you from all these conferences. Now we move on to a bit more detailed about empowering others. I talked about my story and everything, very briefly though. So can you take the next slide, Osai? Okay, here we go. So when leadership is a lot about inspiring others, and when you think about empowering others in special, it means that you, as a leader, you think about all your team members and you try to develop them in the right direction. It's a difference here. You can see management and you can see leadership. If you look at management, it's about making sure we are efficient and we are doing everything as quickly and effective as possible. Leadership, on the other side, is about pointing in a clear, right direction. So this is about together with your team coming up, okay, this is the direction we want to go, and then making sure everyone is moving as some, what is it called? Symbiosis in the right direction towards this goal. So you can say leadership is like a rowing boat where you are the one there's always someone in the front who is making sure everyone is rowing in the same pace and making sure we're moving the boat in the right direction. So now we can move to the next slide. Cool. So in order for a leader to grow, it needs people, of course. If you look at the most efficient and most highly performed people in the world, they all can't do it by themselves. They are great at developing and listening to other people. So if you can, we'll look a bit more detailed later, but now let's see. Okay, so as you can see in this slide, we have 20% is personal productivity and 80% is leading and developing others. If you have a team of 5 people and you're always doing everything yourself, the team's big picture, the team's big productivity is dependent on your own negativities, and like you have positive sides, you have negative sides. But if you're in a team and you actually delegate all these different tasks you have, you will be able to keep it moving. And that's if you study the most efficient people, you will realize that's what they have done in order to be so efficient. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so how can we empower others? The first thing I want to say here is inspiring other people. As I told you before, leading by example, and it means doing what you talk, doing more than you talk. What I mean by this is, okay, if you look at a great leader, let's say she has 5, 6 people around him or her, and they are looking up to him because he is doing more than he's talking. So he's saying more with what he's doing than what he's talking about. So for example, it can be someone saying everything about, yeah, we need to do this, we need to do that, okay, we need to think and ask questions here, but he or she is not actually doing anything. So he needs to be not afraid to have his hands in the dirt, so to say. We move on to the next one, which is delegation. So it's about trusting your team members and your teammates. And this is very important. Some people think delegation is something bad. Oh, don't delegate, then you're just moving the work to someone else. But it's actually about trusting the members in your team, so they will be able to learn and grow together. So let's say an example here. Okay, let's move on. Support, exactly. So the next thing is support, and here you can see that when I am supporting someone, it means 2 things. One, it means when they are asking a question to me or they need help, then asking for help, then yeah, I give them help, of course. That's the one level. The next level is looking at what they're doing, and first of all, not trying to exactly manage what they're doing and saying, oh, you need to do this, oh, make that detail a bit different, but instead looking at them and see, oh, now he or she actually needs help, but he's not willing to ask me. So then I can move in and I can say, okay, do you want help with this? I think I have some valuable information or some valuable thoughts about this, and I would love to share them. And in that way, I'm not only developing, but I'm inspiring the people to move on and they grow their knowledge, their experience. Okay, so now I would love you to think about how you can empowering others, how you can develop others. I talked about these 3 things. So it was inspiring, delegation, and support. So let's think about this and write in the comments here, do you have any specific things you're doing or you think that can be effective? And we will have a reflection time now. So we'll also answer questions from Ross's presentation. So yeah, let's see what we can get in from questions or thoughts about this?
Yeah, for now they haven't written anything, unfortunately. I'm sad, but you can type something, guys, or if you want, you can just open your mic and say something. But it would be very nice to interact with you guys. So it's not only about us talking, but it's also like some space for you to share your thoughts. And this space is 5 minutes.
I'd like to uh, put a little point forward as well in terms of like empowering others. I think Anton talked about support, like supporting them when they need it, and like noticing points that you need support and like supporting at that point as well. I think as a leader, another point in terms of support is also requesting support when it is needed. So, like you as a leader might have places where you need help, and by requesting help from your team members, you are also empowering them to help you, and you are also empowering them to uh, look to you as a person on the same team, as a same as a member of the same team rather than a different person. So I think this is also something important when it comes to leadership.
Yeah, great point. Great point. Yeah, like
So
if you look at successful people, you can see that those who are actually trusting themselves or being vulnerable, they they will be the ones who are succeeding because they will be able to always develop and move forward. Osai, you had something?
I was going to say for the next space that we're going to need a pencil or a pen and a sheet of paper. So maybe if anyone needs to get that, if you're not around, pen and paper.
Nice. So we will have a couple of more minutes. You can, if you have any thoughts, you can share them directly, or you can write in the comments.
Okay.
And we can have time to have some water also.
Is what?
Lilian?
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry, my mic is bad, so I'm on Rodrigo's. I'm on Rodrigo's laptop. Yeah. So I wanted to just share, like, I mean, being a leader doesn't mean that you need to like own a leadership position before you think that you're a leader, right? So you can always just be a normal like individual who would want to empower other people by first of all trying to like work with the people in your team. So even if you're not a team leader, for instance, you can still try to empower the people in your team because you have a sense of responsibility towards your team. So you can always just try to see how you can take ownership of your team as well. But of course, not neglecting the fact that you have a team leader who is supposed to like organize everything. So you like I'm just saying like you don't need to like be one team leader before you think that, oh yes, I want to be a leader, I want to empower people, because it starts from you trying to be first of all even leading yourself as a person before you can do other people. So first of all, try to know yourself, try to be self-aware about what you like or what you don't like, how you can control yourself, how you can control other people. And from there you learn how to like become a better person first, and then you can channel your energy to like working and contributing to a team. So you don't have to be like a team leader or like a president before you think that yes, I want to be a leader. So it starts from you first, and then you can channel your energy, or you can translate, or you can transform, or you can transfer that energy to like improving other people. Okay.
So in ISEC, the way we develop leaders, it's in two steps called, which we call the leadership development model and the inner and outer journey. So ISEC, a global organization present in 70,000, with over 70,000 members and present in 120 countries. How do you ensure that these people everywhere are developing the same characteristics? How do you ensure that they are the kind of leaders that you want the world to see? So in ISEC, we have the leadership development model, which gives us the leadership development qualities. If you were in the call last time, I'm pretty sure this are familiar to you: self-awareness, world citizen, solution-oriented, and empowering others. These are all leadership development qualities, and ISEC facilitates this process. So before you can, when you look at today's world, before you can make a change, before you can decide to do something, you have to know who you are, you have to know what your values are, you have to know what your strengths are, and you have to know what your weaknesses are. When I was joining ISEC, I was aware of my weaknesses, but I didn't know much of my strengths. And in ISEC, I was able to change that mentality to be able to see beyond the mistakes or beyond the things that I didn't like or the things I was not so good at into the things that I was good at and the things that made me feel like the kind of person I wanted to feel like. So in ISEC, it starts from having leaders that understand their strengths and weaknesses and their passions. And then you have leaders that are world citizens, that empower others and are solution oriented. But then how exactly does ISEC do this? This is something we've been talking about in this call, and I'm just going to brush on it before we go. And it's through the inner and outer journey. So with all these qualities, in the rare instances, we're going to have sessions where we actually give you information about them. But most of the time, these qualities are being developed on the go in your regular ISEC journey. So in the ISEC journey, your outer journey is what ISEC as an organization provides you. ISEC provides you with your individual responsibilities and goals. I'm pretty sure as a new member, because I remember when I joined, there was this booklet, like it was literally a booklet of ISEC abbreviations. There was a lot. We had an induction for 3 days and it was crazy. So you get all that information. It was something very different from what I was used to, even as a student in the fourth year of university. And that challenging role, that challenging environment, that place where you can talk to people, that's what ISEC gives to you. And then while ISEC gives you this, you then begin to go on the inner journey through yourself, like by yourself. And ISEC is a place where that happens. So when you joined ISEC, I'm pretty sure everybody took the LDA. And the LDA is a way for the leadership development assessment. It's a way for ISEC to know where you are in terms of these values, which is self-aware and the others. And then after this survey, it helps you to say things that, can help you grow. And I used to think this was a cliche thing because when I joined ISEC 2016, I had a lot of roles. I was doing a lot of things. And the first time I took the LDA was in 2017, actually, sadly. And back then, like I used to think all this filling of trackers and forms was very silly and nobody actually had to do it and nobody checked and all that. But I remember the first LDA I took and the results it gave me were very spot on. You know how you take that 16 personalities test and it tells you where you need to go? It was spot on because at that time I was going through a period of turbulence in my design career. I wasn't very comfortable with my level of work and I wasn't very comfortable with myself. And the LDA was able to tell me the place I needed to go, which was like having an external support system, an external source of, let's say, competence or that what I would measure myself with. And this is what ISEC gave to me, that when I could see my designs in the ISEC Blue Book, when I could see my designs being used for conferences, when I could see the work I was doing being used in marketing international level, this was the support system I needed to be able to help me feel validated and that what I was doing was meaningful work. And this is what ISEC gives to you. It's nothing magical. And it's something that every LC and every entity strives to develop in everybody. The third part of the leadership development model is not something we talk about most of the time, which are the standards. But when you go on exchange, because I went on exchange in 2017, and I can say I've been able to go full circle in ISEC, and I can say that in all of these things, you don't really notice it when it's happening. But when you look back 3 years, 2 years from when you joined, you look back and you see that you're a different person. You're someone that is more in control of yourself and more of who you actually are supposed to be. So yeah, this is how ISEC develops leadership. And this is what is referred to as the leadership development model, which is always accessible at the National Education Hub if you guys want to check it out.